everyone, and welcome to the Art of Teaching Art. I'm Mrs. Darby, and today we are going to be creating a sketchbook page to explore different views of the same object. Now, this is a really good activity to do because it allows you to focus in on one specific object and draw a range of different views to help you work out what you want to kind of move on to do later on. This shows a bit of experimentation and allows you to experiment with different materials in quite a quick and easy way. So we're going to be doing a mixture of drawings, some quicker sketches, maybe some continuous line and some nice observational drawings, all to kind of pull together a page that explores a pepper. So here are some examples. So we've got a page like this where we've drawn in the squares and then did different sections from a bike. So some more close up and some simpler observational sketches. We've got this piece by Andrea Joseph. Again, she's explored keys from different kind of viewpoints, looking at different shapes. We've also got this page where they've done close-up drawings of lots of different sections of telephones, all in tonal pencil. And then this page as well, where you've got the different angles of the apple, from the full apple to the half and bitten apple. So I've put together some resources that show different objects from different angles. So I'm going to be using this pepper image. It's really easy to find images online, or if you've got the objects, you can take your own pictures as well. And what you want is a range of images based on a similar theme to work from. So things that you will need for this: your sketchbook, your images. You may want a viewfinder to choose a specific view of the objects, and you will want an assortment of drawing materials. So I'm just using dry materials like pen, fine liner and pencil for this. You can expand into multiple materials whilst doing the same thing to explore different angles of your same object. So let's get started. So starting off, I've selected a section of the pepper. Much easier to draw a smaller section and then just enlarge it. So I've sketched a box out and I've then sketched the shape into the box, and I'm just using pencil to create a realistic tonal drawing of this bit of pepper. So I really like this because it's got a contrast of light and dark, really easy to add in with the pencils. So I'm just blending in the outside edge first and then adding the darkness in the middle. So I'm using a 4B pencil first of all, and then I'll go over it with a 2B pencil to just blend the darkness together, and then just add a little bit of detail onto the seeds to really make those look realistic with that shadow. So just finishing off the details on that one, and then I'm choosing a different section. So I've chosen a different viewfinder, a different sized box, and I'm just sketching out the section of that pepper there. I'm using proportion by checking with my fingers and comparing parts of the photo with and then parts of my drawing to just sketch out the whole shape. Now I'm sketching in where the shadows are, so I'm looking at where the darkest areas are and I'm drawing those lines onto my piece, and I'm also drawing on the lines that I can see where other changes of tone are. So now working on the shading side of things. So I'm starting with the centre of the pepper, the stalk, and then working outwards and making sure that I'm leaving highlights where I need to and adding the darker areas where they are darker. So I'm really paying close attention to detail with this. So now working on the background of the pepper and making sure that I'm observing carefully, getting the changes in tone, adding the dark and light areas, and then working over everything with a 2B pencil to just blend the tone together. So I'm building up the layers with a 4B pencil for the darker tones, and then using a 2B pencil over the top to blend things together and get that really nice smooth tone there. So just continuing to move down the piece, adding all the details. So all I can say with this is look really carefully at what you're drawing from, pay attention to the details, make sure that you add the dark areas and then add the lighter areas as well. And as you work on this, as you build it up, it will get more realistic and it will become more blended, and you'll work on your pencil drawing skills throughout this. So here adding the darker bits and then blending around, making sure I leave the highlights and just smoothing it out with the 2B pencil there, and just finishing off the pepper's edge there, making sure I've just got that light level of shading and blending between the different tones. So next up, moving into a different kind of style of drawing. So this is a negative space drawing. So I'm drawing the outline of the pepper and then I'm just shading in the background area. So if you wanted to do this, you literally draw the outline rather than any of the details, and then you shade in the background or cross hatch in the background or add a pattern to the background, whatever it is. So that's what I'm just doing here. Negative space can be a really interesting way to explore shape and develop ideas for composition as well. So just evening out the shading on the background, so working again with a 4B and a 2B pencil together to get that nice even tone, and then darker towards the pepper. Using the small rubber on the mechanical pencil to just neaten and sharpen edges. So just finishing off there. So next up, moving to a whole pepper. So I'm just drawing as much as I can fit in that box, and I'm just sketching it out the best I can, and then I'm working over the top with pen. Now I'm using pen in quite a sketchy way. I am using some cross hatching and some darker areas, so pressing harder on the pen and then lighter in selected areas, but I am intending for this to be a quick drawing, not a long drawing, so using more sketchy marks but still trying to achieve that level of tone and detail in the piece. So pen's a really nice material for doing a fairly quick drawing if you want to do that kind of sketchy style. So next up, moving on to a smaller landscape box, and this one I'm going to do in fine liner. So I'm just sketching it out in pencil first, and then I'm going over the top in fine liner. So I'm going over all the lines and adding the details, and then just adding a few hatching marks to just add that detail. So these don't all have to be fully observational, fully tonal drawings. You can use a mixture. So filling in that space there, I'm doing a continuous line drawing of the pepper. So that means you draw something without taking your pen off the page and adding a little bit of cross hatching. Now just doing some smaller sections, so a zoomed in section of that pepper with the 2 peppers inside it. And I'm using a mixture of pen drawing and pencil here to create that level of tone. In this next one, I'm drawing the whole of the pepper that I can see, this squished pepper. I'm using sketchy lines, so deliberately being quite expressive with my lines. And then once I've added all the detail that I can, I'm going to shade in the whole of the background. So I'm just starting here, shading it in, going darker towards the pepper and lighter on the way outwards. I'm using a 4B pencil to do this. And then what I will do is go over the top with a 2B pencil afterwards to just blend everything together. So make sure when you're adding your tone, you're doing this nice and smoothly and evenly, shading in one direction, making sure it's nice and neat and even with no white gaps. So just finishing this off now. Glance back at your piece, check that it's nice and even, go over the areas again that aren't quite even. Now I'm just doing 2 smaller drawings to just finish off the gap here, so just a simple pencil drawing at the bottom to just fill this smaller box. So just with pencil, the same as the ones at the top. And then I'm going to do just a pen drawing, so using cross hatching like I have before, but in a bit more detail this time to add the range of tones to that small section of the pepper. So make sure you're using a variety of sections, more simple sections and more detailed sections. You want the combination. And lastly, I'm doing a pen drawing just with the fine liner directly onto the page, and I'm using expressive lines, so deliberately making my hand a little bit shaky to make the lines a little bit more expressive, have a little bit more detail there, and then adding some additional lines, they're called contour lines, to just add the detail. So here we go, we've got a page of lots of different drawings from different angles, some with a bit more detail and tone, some negative space drawing, and some with just a shaded background. So it doesn't take too long to build up a page with lots of different angles exploring one object. Thank you so much for watching and have a really great day.